You're sitting on the couch. Maybe you're opening a bag of chips or biting into a candy bar. Feels like a modern pleasure, right? Wrong. What if I told you that some of the snacks we casually grab from vending machines or gas stations actually have roots stretching back hundreds of years? To muddy medieval villages, bustling market towns, and castle kitchens? Behind every crunch and chew is a story, a forgotten journey through time, where hunger met ingenuity long before industrial ovens and factory lines existed. These weren't just indulgences, they were necessities, rituals, and sometimes even symbols of status or superstition. In this video, we're about to blow the dust off a delicious secret. Many of your favorite snacks have medieval ancestors, and once you hear how they started and why, you might never look at your food the same way again. Long before snackable meant shelf-stable boxes of crackers, medieval kitchens were already baking thin, dry bread that didn't spoil. Think hardtack, crisp breads, or even communion wafers. These were made without yeast, just flour and water, sometimes flavored with herbs or dried fruits. For peasants, it was survival food. For monks and priests, it was ritual. For traveling merchants, it was lightweight and long-lasting. The concept of a crunchy, storable bite started here, and it never left. Today's crackers, matzo, and crisp bread are just refined echoes of these old-school recipes. You know that sweet rush from a lollipop or gummy bear? In medieval times, that same hit of sugar came from candied herbs, honeyed fruits, and spiced nuts. And it was often considered medicine. Sugar was rare and expensive, so sweets were reserved for the wealthy or used as healing tonics. Apothecaries made lozenges from honey and ginger to treat digestion. Spices like cinnamon and anise were rolled into tiny sugar pellets called comfits. And yes, kids loved them too. Wealthy families would treat their children with sugar-coated almonds or preserved citrus peels during holidays and festivals. Modern candy has ditched the health part, but the idea of sweet relief? That's been around for centuries. Protein bar in your backpack? Knights and peasants had something just as convenient: aged cheese. Cheese in the Middle Ages wasn't just for meals. It was a grab-and-go snack packed with fat, protein, and salt. It was cheap to make, easy to carry, and could last weeks on the road. Medieval cheese was firmer, saltier, and stronger smelling than what you'll find in your local deli aisle, but it was perfect fuel for laborers, travelers, and soldiers. Today's cheese sticks and savory protein snacks, just modern echoes of this ancient energy source. Think raisins are boring? In medieval markets, they were gold. Drying fruit was one of the few ways to preserve sweetness before refrigeration. Grapes, apples, pears, figs, dried, sliced, stored, and sold. But dried fruit wasn't just practical, it was luxurious too. In fact, spiced dried fruit, like prunes soaked in wine and cloves, was served at royal banquets, a delicacy for the elite. Even pies were stuffed with chopped dates and raisins instead of sugar-laden jams. Trail mix, dried fruit bars? They owe their existence to medieval cooks who mastered the art of preserving sweetness year-round. Forget gas station peanuts. Medieval Europe had its own version of the nut stand. Nuts were roasted over open flames, coated with honey or spices, and sold by vendors on busy streets or during fairs. Almonds, hazelnuts, and chestnuts were the most common. Cheap, portable, and packed with energy. In winter, roasted chestnuts warmed both hands and bellies in marketplaces, and sweet almond pastries became a staple during religious feasts. So next time you buy a cinnamon almond cone at a fair, know that you're walking in medieval footsteps. Long before beef jerky hit convenience stores, medieval folks were salting, drying, and preserving meat for the road. Soldiers and pilgrims couldn't carry raw cuts, so they packed salt-cured pork, dried beef strips, or even meat pastes sealed in fat, like early pâté. These savory snacks were oily, dense, and incredibly filling. They weren't fancy, but they worked. Modern-day survival food? It's just a repackaged version of what knights stashed in their saddlebags. Okay, technically not a snack, but in medieval times, ale and mead were consumed like calories. And for good reason. Water was often contaminated, especially in cities. So people of all ages drank weak ale, brewed just strong enough to kill bacteria, but light enough to drink all day. Mead, fermented honey, was a sweeter option at festivals or among the wealthier. Alcohol wasn't about getting drunk. It was about survival, hydration, and even nutrition. Sound familiar? That protein smoothie or energy drink. It's your own sanitized, modern version of medieval liquid fuel. Think fast food is a modern invention? Think again. In medieval towns, street vendors sold hot, portable meals, and one of the most popular? Hand pies. Picture this, a thick, folded crust stuffed with meat, cheese, or sweet fruit, baked until firm enough to carry around. These weren't fancy. They were functional, designed to be eaten with dirty hands, using the crust as a natural wrapper. In some towns, even monks and nuns ran pie stalls outside monasteries. And royal kitchens? They filled their pastries with sweet figs, spiced apples, and custards for lavish feasts. The next time you eat a toaster strudel, Pop-Tart, or Cornish pasty, remember, medieval bakers had the recipe centuries ago. Before refrigeration, one word ruled the medieval pantry: preservation. Pickling wasn't just for cucumbers. It was how people kept everything from onions to eggs to herring edible for months. Vinegar, salt, and spices did the work of a refrigerator. The result? Salty, sour, punchy snacks that woke up the palate and kept food safe. In coastal towns, pickled fish was common, often eaten on the go or served with bread and ale. Even wealthy households kept jars of spiced cherries or plums pickled in wine. Today's sour snacks, think pickled eggs, kimchi, and gourmet olives, all owe a nod to these tart little time capsules from the Middle Ages. Long before chocolate took over the dessert world, medieval sweet lovers had their own fix: honey cakes, seed-studded buns, and ginger-spiced biscuits. Honey was the sweetener of choice, cheaper than sugar and easier to store. Mixed with nuts, breadcrumbs, or flour, it created dense, chewy snacks that doubled as both dessert and travel food. Spices like nutmeg, cloves, and black pepper added complexity, and sometimes even a medicinal kick. One popular snack? Léche Lombard, a sort of medieval energy bar made of honey, bread, and chopped almonds, flavored with warming spices. Modern energy bites, granola bars, and gourmet spiced cookies. All distant cousins of these sticky, spiced medieval originals. So, what's in your kitchen? Chances are it's a medieval mashup of survival, status, and sweetness. Designed by monks, merchants, soldiers, and royal cooks centuries ago. From crunchy crackers to candied nuts, dried fruit to jerky, these weren't just the foods of the past. They were solutions to real problems: food preservation, travel, health, and pleasure. Modern snacks might come in shinier packages, but the core ideas? Medieval people thought of them first. Which of these medieval snack stories surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you loved this bite-sized journey through time, give it a like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more delicious history. Because sometimes the past really does taste better.